What's up guys, it's me Shane of Kicking It in the Corner, and on today's episode we're going to be talking about Canon's newly released R5, R6 mirrorless cameras. They are now fully into the mirrorless world. Alright, so I got a couple of questions because a lot of people know that I've been waiting on this day for like two and a half, maybe even 3 years now, and I've been getting a lot of questions today. What do I think? Am I impressed? Am I still going to go out and get one? Am I going to pre-order one? And so, this video is going to dive into a little bit of, my take on what the announcement was today. So for those of you that don't know, Canon did release 2 new camera bodies as well as a plethora of lenses and actually 1 printer today. The Canon R5 and R6 are the camera bodies that I'm going to talk about, and they're both extremely amazing. Both of them shoot 12 frames a second, I believe, with the mechanical shutter, and up to 20 frames per second silently. That means, like no sound whatsoever, and you're getting 20 frames per second. That is outrageous, right? With my current camera, the 5D Mark III, I'm only getting like 6 to 7 frames per second. And, to be able to double that is mind-boggling to me. And not only double it, but because they're mirrorless cameras, you get the eye autofocus. You get the, what you see is what you get. It's just greatness, man. They finally put IBIS. Finally put in-body stabilization in their camera body, which means that the sensor on the inside is actually sitting on something that moves, and it compensates for your handshake, as well as their lenses also do that. So combined with the lens stabilization as well as the in-body stabilization of the sensor, Canon's boasting up to 8 stops of stabilization. So I don't know about you guys, but I don't do video, but whether you're doing video or stills, it doesn't matter. Like, in-body stabilization is big because it can just take that footage and just make it super smooth. Or if you're doing stills like I am, you don't have to worry about handshake or anything like that. So if you get really low to the ground, and if you're like me, you're a little pudgy, when you get down to the ground, stuff starts to shake. But you don't have to worry about that too much now because of that stabilization. So, that really got me excited. Between that and then, the biggest feature that everyone's harping on is that the R5 shoots 8K footage. Man, dude, 8K in an SLR body, like, that is ridiculous. Like, it's so compact and small, and, you're going to be able to take that into anywhere you really want to go. And, 8K sounds great, but to me, someone that, 1, focuses on stills, 2, isn't the biggest of videographers, but I do understand that, 8K is great when you can shoot it, but at the same time, you have to have the storage capacity to deal with it. Both in the camera as well as when you're working, with that footage and processing it on your computer or laptop or what have you. So that's going to chew up a lot of space and a lot of processing power to shoot in 8K. So while it sounds great on paper, for me, not really worried about it. But one thing that I do like, that is a side benefit to that sensor being able to shoot 8K, is that sensor is actually 45 megapixels large. Okay, for comparison, 5D Mark III that I'm shooting on right now, I believe is 24 megapixels. So yeah, that R5 is great. Speaking on sensor size, that is kind of where the R5 and the R6 differ. So with the R6, it doesn't have a 45 megapixel camera sensor, it has a 20 megapixel sensor. So you're chopping it in half. But 20 is fine. Like I said, on the 5D Mark III, you've been shooting with 20, 24 all your, for as long as you need to. And they, they print large and they print great. So that's all that matters to me personally. Also, with that smaller sensor in the R6, you are limited, like, you're not going to get 8K out of an R6, but you still get 4K. You might not get 4K at 120 frames per second to get that super smooth slow motion, but you are getting 4K if you want to. But again, like I said, for me personally, I really don't even care about 4K because the majority of my content is going to be viewed at 1080p on small screens anyway, on phones. So, just think about what you're really doing, or if you're really going to get one. So yeah, besides the sensor size and the video capabilities, the biggest difference between the two is price. So for body only, The R5, you're looking at about $3,900 for just the body without a lens whatsoever. And then for the R6, for just the body without a lens, you're looking at $2,500. So, huge price difference. So if you really, really, really want to shoot 8K footage, or you really, really, really want to shoot with 45 megapixels as your sensor, like I do, I really do, especially for portraits and landscapes and stuff, then you would go with the R5. But if not, the R6 is still a beast, man. Like, you can't beat that. Like, it's still got the fast frames per second for shooting. It's still got 4K. It doesn't have 4K 120, but you'll make do. And it still has all the settings for 1080p anyway, so you're good there too. Yeah, and they both have Bluetooth and Wi-Fi capability, so welcome to the 21st century, thank God. Oh yeah, and while you're shooting these videos in 8K or 4K or whatever, there's no crop, and you still get autofocus. So, pluses and benefits. But yeah, man, like I said, I've been waiting on this day for years, but honestly, I'm not even going to pre-order because 2020 has been really rough on my photography. So I'm just going to do the fiscally responsible thing, take all that money that I saved up. I've been saving for 2-3 years now, and planning. I was planning on. I had a set goal, and I met my goal to where I should be able to buy 2 of whatever camera I wanted when they came out with these. But I'm not going to bite the bullet just yet. I'm going to wait. I'm going to hold off. 2020 has been really, really rough. I've had to reschedule everything, and like a lot of stuff did get canceled, especially with me being a DC events photographer. So I'm gonna take my time on this, and I'm gonna continue to use the 2 cameras that I do have. But one day in the near future, I am going to make that jump, and I'm gonna buy 2 of the same camera, because ever since I can remember, I've always had 2 separate cameras. I've either had a 5D and a 6D, or I've had right now a 5D and a Sony a7 III. I really, really want like that consistency of not just look and feel, but ergonomics while I'm working too. So like I can just go to this camera, I know it has this lens on it, I know what I'm doing. This camera has this lens on it, I don't have to remember the difference of buttons and the size comparisons and stuff like that. I want to keep everything nice and even and symmetrical. But let me know what you guys think of today's announcement. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Are you looking to get one? Are you still trying to compare between this Canon and Sony, this Canon and the Nikon Z series? Let me know. But until then, I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for kicking it in the corner with me. Peace.